Mouse Apart podcast here, and this will be our Jackass Forever review. Now, Jess and Harry haven't seen it, so it'll just be me on this one. And I've been a big fan of Jackass, like, growing up. I think for those of us that grew up in the 2000s, now I'm a 90s kids, but, you know, growing up in the 2000s, we all at one point or another saw Jackass, clips of it, or anything like that. So, you know, with the title like Jackass Forever, let's give a little backstory of just when Jackass got started, how it got started, and how long it's been around. It's actually been around for 22 years now, I think, this, with Jackass Forever coming out now. So, Jackass originally debuted October 1st in 2000. Jesus Christ, that was a long time ago. And the creators are Jeff Tremaine, Spike Jonze, and Johnny Knoxville. Hi, my name's Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to Jackass. That's kind of like synonymous with Jackass. And, he's kind of the leader of the crew. And we got most of the crew. We got pretty much all of the crew, except for, Ryan Dunn, who passed many years ago. And then Bam Margera is actually not in Jackass Forever. They had some backstory stuff. I think, he's struggling with his sobriety and stuff. But a majority of the crew is back, and they have aged terribly. And, it says they're professional stuntmen and everything like that. But most of their stunts are kind of expected to fail. So, but, Jackass, it was kind of like a clip show that got started back in, 2000. The funny thing is, it only was around for 3 years. From it ended in February 2002. And then, we had some spin-offs of Jackass. We had the Wild Boys with Steve-O and Chris Pontes. And then also Viva La Bam, which was kind of like a reality show for Bam Margera and his family. And, the Jackass brand, the franchise, I should say, it's been pretty big. After the original, the TV series aired on MTV, we also had Jackass the movie, then Jackass 2, and then Jackass 3D, which came out in 2010. And, after each of them, they also had like Jackass 2.5 that came out, Jackass 3.5 that came out, which were mostly just like little, I think they were DVD releases, and they just had like a little bit of extra stunts and some behind the scenes in there. So they were kind of just like extended cut, per se. And, from also part of the Jackass franchise is Bad Grandpa. That's a character that Johnny Knoxville used to play, where he dresses like an 86-year-old guy. And, we had Bad Grandpa that he starred in that actually came out a while ago. So again, I was as soon as I saw the trailer for Jackass Forever, I was pumped because I did watch Jackass growing up, like when I was a kid. And, I remember, having some of my buddies and be like, hey, let's go do stupid things too. And, the funny thing is, like, these guys, like, they did all of this before social media. There was no YouTube around back then. There was no, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, and anything like that. They all did this a long time ago, before all of that, and still kind of broke through. And, the show was pretty big, and it was a part of the pop culture. And this movie's not for everybody. I remember when Jackass 3 came out, it was actually Jess's birthday. So a bunch of us got together that night and went to go watch it. And it's stupid. They have a lot of painful stunts in there, some disgusting things. Holy dick and balls, is there a lot of dick in this movie. I'll kind of talk some of my favorite stunts and stuff, but it's a lot of penis in this movie, which, they're kind of known for. But why I wanted to go watch it, just like when I went to go watch Jackass 3 with my friends, is it's laugh out loud funny. So I think like experiencing it in a movie theater is, really cool to do. And this time around, I went by myself. The night that I came out, I think I went out like opening night. Again, when I saw the trailers, this was like one of my most anticipated movies of the year, just to see the crew back together, still doing it now that they're much older. I don't know if it's because I'm older or if they're older. I was a lot more worried about their safety in this one than I have about in the past. And, I asked a couple of my buddies, and they're like, hey, that's kind of not my vibe. So I was like, hey, cool. Like, yeah, I just want to go to the theater and laugh. And that's what it was, man. It was a pretty packed house in the theater when I went on Thursday. And that's exactly what it was. Like, I can't remember the last time I went and saw a comedy where everybody's just laughing at a lot of the parts. And, it was just a fun experience to have. Like, watching it with a group of people or in a movie theater. Like, The Hangover, the original Hangover, is probably still one of the funniest movies I've seen in the movie theater, where it was just so many laughs and the whole theater busted out. And, this one, the latest, Jackass Forever, had a lot of laughs in it too. So it's also doing very well in the box office as well. It only cost about $10 million to make, and after its first weekend, it made about $23.5 million. So, it's already made it double its budget, and it got a B+ grade on CinemaScore, and then also 85% fresh rating from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So some of the highlights, the big my favorite stunts in the movie were, the opening is ridiculous. It's like, like those old Godzilla movies, where they use a miniature town, like a miniature set, but it's also interwoven with, it really is an homage to like a Godzilla movie. I'm gonna call it Cockzilla because that's exactly what it was. It was Chris Pontius's dick dressed like a dinosaur going through a city and destroying it. Now, when I describe it like that, it sounds ridiculous. When I came home and told my wife that, she was like, what the fuck did you just go watch? But it's Jackass. This is what it is. And so some of my favorite stunts in the movie is they have they're like, hey, we're going to be doing a snake prank, or they're telling them like, hey, you guys are just going to be watching. You're going to be like the bystanders in this one where Johnny Knoxville is going to do something with a snake, but it's actually a reverse, and it's a prank on the the people that they bring in, like, and it's the rest of the cast. And what happens is they shut the lights off and pretend to release a fake snake, and they're like fucking with them in the dark. And I think that was one of the first, like the first or the second, once the movie launches, and that got some of the most laughs, out of the whole thing. Just because they at one point think if we found a door, I think it's Danger Aaron. He's like, oh, I got a door. We got to come through here. We got to come through here. But it's just a whole nother fucking room that they have set with other obstacles and fucking like thumbtacks and like rat traps and stuff and pans that are just hanging from the ceiling that they're bumping their heads on. But it was just funny. And speaking of Danger Aaron, he's kind of, I would say, kind of like the MVP of the movie, just because, I saw this a few days ago now, so I was trying to go, based off of my memory of everything that happens in the movie. But I think he has like some of the most stunts in there. Some of his are, he was in the dark room one. They do cup check. So cup check is like something they did like 20 years ago, where originally it was Johnny Knoxville, and he had like, he was getting hit in the balls wearing a cup, and I think like kids kicked him too. So in this one, they just fucking take that and turn it up to like 11, where they have Francis Ngannou, the current UFC heavyweight champion, and Danger Aaron again has the cup in. This was something that they had in the trailers for it as well, where they say, Johnny Knoxville's like, oh, I told him it's gonna be a lightweight, and then you get Francis Ngannou, who is like the biggest human being, and he comes in and gives like a right hook to Aaron's balls, and then you think like, oh my god, like goddamn, like imagine taking that, and you're like, oof. And then they take it another step further, because then it's cup check 2, where it's Aaron taking a softball, like a professional softball player, from a professional softball pitcher, taking a pitch of a softball straight to the balls. And she misses the first couple times, and he gets hit like on the inner thighs, which I can't even imagine how painful that is. And he takes that one too, and then you're like, oh my god, like okay, like it's done. And then you get cup check 3, which is now they're in a hockey rink, and you have PK Subban, a professional hockey player, and he takes a puck to the cup area again, and you're like, oh my god, like, and then he actually shows the cup at the end of the movie. It's a metal steel cup, and after the puck hit it, it was dented in. And after this, you're like, surely that you can't go. The last thing they do is like, all right, cup check 4, I think what it was or whatever. It's just a 4th thing in this now. Is they have a pogo stick, and I think it's like Dave pogo sticks onto the cup. And this is where it gets even more painful, because he actually ends up pinning like his testicles down in this one with the pogo stick, and they show he's a little bloodied up. But immediately after the movie ended, I went and Googled if Danger Aaron has any kids, and he doesn't. So I was just like, geez, dude, you can't be taking this type of fucking damage to the crotch like that. But while we're on the topic of balls, there's another stunt that Steve-O does where they put a queen bee, on his balls, and then a swarm of bees just swarm him, and he gets a bunch of stings on his, and it's just crazy. Like, some of the shit that they do in here is just ridiculous, man. And this is just some of the stuff that was, the most noted, the things that stuck with me. And there was one where they're dressed as a marching band, and they walk onto a treadmill that's going full speed, and all of them get launched across a room. And I think it actually knocked Steve-O out, because like the EMTs had to get him, and he was like out. So they do get hurt. They do get really, really hurt in some of these stunts. And I think probably the worst injury that was sustained during the movie was Johnny Knoxville. And he got hit by a bull back in the day too. In one, I forgot it was Jackass 1 or 2, might have been 3, I forgot. But they went and redid that, and he got hit by a bull again, and he just fucking ragdolls. And he broke his wrist, broke his ribs, and was out cold. He was snoring. It was like he got knocked out. He got knocked out. Not like he got knocked out. He legit got knocked out by the bull. He was snoring, just like you see in like the UFC or boxing, out cold. And they, like the report actually was, I think he told, I think like People Magazine or something, that he had cognitive impairment for like a few months after that too. And he's kind of said that, hey, like this is probably going to be it for him, that his doctors told him that he can't really take any more hits to the head, or he can't have any more, because he's had so many concussions. And he says he's felt like he's put his family through a lot of this. And Johnny Knoxville is like credited as the creator like of Jackass. I think like he's probably the most recognizable face, like other than like like it's Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, you would say Bam as well, who are kind of like the more prominent ones. And Johnny Knoxville has been very successful based off of this, because he's one of the creators, so he's got a net worth of like $45 to $50 million. And he's also been in other movies too, like The Ringer, The Dukes of Hazzard. Like he was coming out in more movies in like the mid 2000s and stuff as well. So another thing that they do in here is they kind of bring on, they're saying like, hey, the newer generation of jackasses. And so we get all the old crew, like Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Jason Weeman, Acuna, Chris Pontes, Preston Lacey, Aaron, Dave England. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Trying to get everybody. That's that's pretty much everybody that's on there. And some of the new faces that we have in here: Zach Holmes, Jasper Rachel Wolfson. So, it's always nice to see women do stupid shit too. So it's not just like the guys having all the fun. And she's a badass. Like, she fucking goes for it in here. She, in one of the stunts that she does is she licks a taser. And in another one, she gets bit. There's a lot of animal biting in this one too. And, like, you just, she takes a fucking scorpion bite. I think they call it like scorpion Botox or something. And she takes a scorpion bite to the lips. And, she was a champ because it's not just one bite. She took like 3 of them. And so she, so like I said, Zach Holmes, some of the other newer guys in here is Eric Manka, I think. And also a dude named Poopies. I can't see his name pulled up here. But he's also, so at one point, like Zach Holmes and Poopies are talking about like how they remember watching Jackass when they were like 12 years old, and, they were just so happy, like, we made it, like, we're here. And they kind of blended that in with the OGs doing the stunts, like some of the big stunts, and then the new dudes taking some of the licks, and it was kind of blended in well. Does this mean that, like, hey, we're gonna get another Jackass movie with just the new cast? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know if this is the final one, because I think Johnny Knoxville said this is, he could always be like the host of it, but like, I think, that's why when the bull scene did happen where he gets fucking ragdolled, they're like, that's why he's the captain. And like, you could just see the concern on all their faces as well. Like, I think Steve-O says, like, why are we doing this? Like, we've been having a good time just fucking doing this. Like, why do we always have to like take it so far and have this fucking bull? And some of the and then just the pranks that they sprinkle in between, because it's like, hey, big, like big set piece, big stunt, and then just a couple of these little vignettes of these. I think there's a dude doing a kickflip and he just gets decked by like some dude dressed as a fist, and it's like it's like a dude on a bike where it looks like he's going to a ramp, but it's just painted and just like, goes right into it. And, just some of the comedy things in here too. I think they play like musical chairs, but they have like airbags or these launchers, and Wee Man just fucking gets launched into the air. That was funny. I think my favorite part, again, it's just the nostalgia. Grew up watching these guys, and it's cool to see, again, aged pretty terribly. Preston, he was very large back in the day. Looks like he's lost some weight. So, good for him, but he does shit his pants at one point in the movie. So there's that. But, yeah, it was just a good time at the theater. Again, it is not for everybody. Like, when I describe this stuff, it seems ridiculous, but if you're a fan of Jackass, I would definitely say check it out. Just go have a good time. Like, what the fuck else are you gonna go watch in the movie theater this week? Moonfall? I don't think so. And that had a budget of like 110 million, and it made like 10 million, so it flopped pretty hard. But I'm just trying to think of if there was any other. So again, I mentioned Danger Aaron being kind of like the MVP. I just remember his stunts like the most. There's one, it's all over in the social media and the marketing and the trailers and stuff where they're doing a lie detector and he's tied up, like strapped in, and then Knoxville puts some honey and salmon on him, and we have a bear come in. And just fucking thinking, like, the bear's, it's a trained bear. It's not like some kind of wild bear. Like, the bear's handler was there. So the bear's like eating salmon off of him and licking the honey. But that's dicey because they're all outside. Like, the bear looked like at one point just wanted, he's like, he's going to bite my hand. He's going to bite my hand. And it's a big bear. And like, just shit like that. It's just ridiculous. Like, they are still upping the ante. And there's also one, there's electric tap dancing that they actually have Tyler, the Creator. They have some celebrity cameos. Like I mentioned, Francis. Rob Dyrdek is in one of them. Tony Hawk and Jalen Ramsey are like in the beginning vignette, the beginning opening scene, and Rob Dyrdek's in there. I think I already mentioned that. And yeah, so Tyler the Creator, they're doing like electric tap dance. So much electrocuting happens in this movie. Knoxville's just running around with a taser. So at sometimes like randomly he'll just tase somebody. It's ridiculous. So like, you know, they also just the stunts that they play on the pranks that they play on each other in between too, that's sprinkled out through the movie. They really can't go into any porta potties because anytime somebody walks into a porta potty, it just explodes. And also, one of my just the things that made me laugh the most is they have like a little coffee stand, and Eric Andrade is getting a cold brew coffee, and then boom, it's just like a fucking inflatable thing that punches him in the face and knocks him down. And then you know, one of the newer guys, Poopies, he's getting a coffee too. Boom, punches him too. And then Knoxville's like, "Can we actually get him a real coffee?" And they're like, "Okay." You know, he's grabbing the coffee again, and then another thing, boof, like hits him down low. And the ending scene was crazy. It's like they have like military and paintball and a ton of explosions. And you know, it was just good to see the crew back together, the camaraderie of the crew, and you know, like they've all kind of gone their own. Like Knoxville's probably the most successful out of the crew, and Steve-O was struggling with addiction, but now he's been sober for a number of years. He's stand-up comedian. He has his own podcast and stuff, so you know, he's doing good too. But some of the other guys that we don't really see that often, you know, it's good to see them again too. And that's the thing about Jackass, man. Like, it's funny. Like, you wouldn't think it would work now. You know, 2000 was a long time ago. You would think, like, hey, like, some of the shit they pulled off back then, like, you know, especially with how the climate is now, like, would it fly? And for them to kind of release this now, and it still does hit, it still does work. And, you know, I think for people like me that kind of grew up watching this, it's just cool to see them again. And the fact that they're still doing it, and they're successful at it. Like I said, you know, it's pretty much a box office hit at this point. And the fact that it's so highly rated too. So, you know, if you're just looking to get like a laugh, just want to go with a few buddies and just watch it, I definitely recommend it. It's cool. Like, it's funny. I think, is it better? I haven't seen Jackass 1, 2, and 3 in a long time, so I can't really rank where it stacks up with the other ones. But it holds up. It definitely didn't seem cringy or anything like that, But I definitely had a good time, and I definitely recommend it. But again, it is not for everybody. And if you are gonna go, be prepared. You're gonna see a lot of penis. Just be prepared for that. But And that's going to do it for my review of Jackass Forever, guys. Comment down below. Let me know if you saw it or are thinking about going to see it and what you thought of it, and if you watched Jackass growing up. And, you know, Miles Apart Podcast, you know, rate and review. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, this is Gagan signing off. Bye-bye.